wanna know who I am? Folks call me the Bone Man. Ain't my real name, but it's the one that stuck. Tonight on Requiem Radio, we're checking into a burned out motel off Old Chumuckla Road, just outside Milton, Florida. Only room left, 237. It comes with a bed, a busted TV, and a jukebox that plays one song. Fire on High, released by the Electric Light Orchestra in 1975. You best keep your ears open, 'cause the music might be reversible. The time sure as hell ain't. This one's called The Jukebox in room 237.
There used to be a crooked stretch of blacktop just outside Milton, Florida, known to locals as Old Chumuckla Road. It doesn't show up on any GPS these days. Nature's taken most of it back, with pine straw in the ditches and kudzu in the trees. But there was a time, if you followed that road far enough, you'd find the remains of the Mercury Motor Inn. A charred skeleton of a roadside motel with more stories than rooms. It was built in '56 and burned down in '81. But folks around Milton stopped staying there long before the fire because of room 237. That room had a jukebox bolted to the wall, an old Seaberg from the mid-'70s. It was not in the lobby and not in the bar, but right in that room. You've seen that room before, tacky wood paneling and orange shag carpet. But this one had a jukebox glowing faintly in the dark. It didn't take coins. It didn't have a plug. It only played one song at midnight sharp, Fire on High by Electric Light Orchestra. Except it didn't play forward. It played backward. Vernon Little's story was the first I heard. He was a mill worker in Milton. He worked third shift, had stiff joints, and was a man who'd seen too many things and talked too little, at least until the bottle loosened him up. He said it happened in 1979 when he got in a fight with a girl down in Gulf Breeze and drove north in the dark, taking the first motel he saw. Mercury Motor Inn, room 237. At 12:01 a.m., the jukebox lit up. It played that ELO track, but reversed. Vernon said it sounded like an orchestra drowning in reverse time. Then came the voice.
The music is reversible, but time is not. Turn back, turn back.
And suddenly, just like that, Vernon was back at the front desk, talking to the same clerk again like he'd just arrived, clutching the room key again like no time had passed at all. But he remembered everything: the fight with the girl, the fear, the future that almost happened if he'd gone back to her, if he'd pulled the gun, if he'd pulled the trigger. That life never happened, but it had somehow. And now it was gone. Vernon never went near Milton, Florida again. Others tried to test it. A preacher walked into room 237 with a cross in one hand and a hymnal in the other.
He walked out 2 days later with no shoes and speaking backward. A teenage guitar picker from Jay recorded the track and swore the tape got heavier each night, like it was dragging memories out of him. A runaway girl stayed one night in room 237 and came out smiling like someone else was wearing her skin. But the most chilling story of all came from Clayton Reese. He ran a pawn shop in Milton, just off Caroline Street. He was big into reel-to-reel and big into backmasking. He thought sound had mass and that it could warp time and make impressions the way a thumb leaves a bruise. In August of '81, he checked into room 237 with a tape deck, a couple mics, and a blank reel. The song played backward. He captured it all. Then the tape kept rolling. When he played it back, he didn't just hear music. He heard voices. He heard his grandmother's prayers. He heard a girl he loved who died young. He heard a dead Pensacola DJ whose last broadcast was a hymn and a scream. They all whispered the same thing. You've gone too far. Time can't follow you now. The next morning, the room locked itself. The clerk didn't recognize him. His name wasn't in the ledger. His car was gone. The reel-to-reel vanished. Only the jukebox remained. 2 weeks later, the Mercury Motor Inn burned to the ground. They say the fire started in room 237. Clayton Reese died in his home the next morning with his body blistered, scorched, and burned, but his house was untouched by any flame. The tape he recorded would... Some say the jukebox survived the fire. A drifter found it years later in a rusted-out trailer near the Blackwater River. He swore it came alive at midnight. It played not music, but memories. It played a voice he hadn't heard since childhood. It played a laugh from his sister who died in a crash. It played a preacher's sermon from a funeral he never attended. He ran off like a deer before the song ended. But just before he left, the jukebox sang one last thing.
The music is reversible, but time is not.
And if you turn back too far, something else might turn with you.
You've been listening to Requiem Radio, where music bleeds into the supernatural. And that was the jukebox in room 237. Some songs don't want to be played forward. Some rooms don't want to stay burned. And sometimes when the music plays backward, it ain't the notes that matter. It's what else you hear in the silence between them. That old jukebox still shows up in abandoned places all up and down that Blackwater River. Just don't go swimming anywhere nearby, or you might find yourself swimming in something a lot deeper than that dark water. Ain't gonna be no more tonight. rest easy. And don't let the dark drive you home.